You guys are frag grenades.
There's one further behind that trench. There's one on your left.
Medic! Medic! Tighten up. Be smart. Tighten up. Close this gap. Close this gap.
So I recently picked up this indie game about a week ago that's been out for a couple years now called Foxhole, and honestly I have nothing bad to say about it. If you have no idea what it is, basically it's a large-scale sandbox World War I and II inspired game where wars are persistent and sometimes can last months. Imagine one server where everyone who owns the game is playing on. Everything is player controlled, which means that every gun you shoot was made by someone, every trench you hide in was dug by someone, even every artillery shell that you're blown to pieces by was made by someone. I was originally pretty skeptical since the top-down view seemed a little odd to me, and the only persistent war game I had ever played was PlanetSide 2, which I wasn't super fond of, but there was a sale going on at the time, so I figured, what the hell, I could always return it. So I loaded into the game, decided to become a warden because they looked cooler, of course. I then went to the front line and unlocked more, and from that point on, I was hooked. Artillery was bombarding our stronghold, and all the players were running around and working together to fix it. The community, honestly, is where Foxhole thrives. You know, occasionally you will get a troll or one of those veterans who has a stick up their ass just because you're new, but I've never seen a community that's this helpful towards new players. For example, less than 5 minutes into my first time playing, I met this French-Canadian guy who showed me the ropes and took me on a tank mission, which I wasn't prepared for, but we somehow managed to stay alive and took over most of the region. The feeling that what you did matter is not something you get from many other kinds of games. For example, let's say you join a game of COD. You load into a round, kill 20 people, game over, you unlock a skin or something. That match you went through doesn't matter anymore. In Foxhole, if you and 40 guys somehow capture this massive bridge in Hal Country, you feel accomplished that what you did mattered, and it feels even better when you wake up the next day and see that it's still under your control. I even found myself growing attached to a specific region as most of my time was spent there in the driver's seat of a tank trying to liberate it. There are 3 main categories you can play the game in, each with subcategories. Logistics, which is getting materials, making weapons, building defenses, fixing vehicles, etc. The second is partisan work, where you go behind enemy lines and attack enemies or their supplies. The third is being part of the front line, whether it's doing artillery, being a medic, inhabiting a tank, or just being infantry. Logistics is one of the most valiant and effective jobs you can do for the war, and it happens to be the simplest. Our logistics journey started off with me and my friends Consumi and Windex, who bought the game with me, spending like 10 minutes looking for basic materials to make some trucks. Then we got to work mining scrap to turn into B-mats and then to weapons, which took a while considering 5 crates of guns would take 5 minutes to make. We loaded our vehicles with fuel and the guns we produced and started the long journey to the front line. Once we unloaded our supplies in Fairmore, we realized how close the enemies were getting to capturing the city. Our French-Canadian mentor, Ramen, had just gotten on, so he suggested that we grab some AT rifles and sit on a roof shooting trucks and unlucky soldiers. We did that for a solid 20 minutes until they pulled back a little bit. Ramen was lucky enough to find 2 artillery cannons that were just sitting around not being used, so we got to work loading nearby crates with ammo. He showed us the basic of aiming and firing, and then quickly ran to the front line to help direct our shots. He would give us orders and we would shoot, and he would tell us to adjust our aim according to the splashes. All the while Brent working hard to keep our artillery supplied. We originally had low efficiency because one man was not enough to support 2 pieces, and one of the other new players named Atlas saw that and was all like, "Hey, do you guys need some help?" And it was obvious that we became a collie killing machine, as Ramen made apparent by screaming in joy as our already destroyed enemy infantry and damaged their tanks. Our efforts were so effective that soldiers from the front line who we'd never even met walked up and personally thanked us for our efforts.
You guys are doing a great job on this artillery. Keep it up.
That's how cool the people who play the game are. Honestly, just buy the game. It's totally worth it. I already have something like 26 hours and I've only been playing for, I don't know, like 6 days. The one thing I suggest is find some cool guys to hang out with that you enjoy spending time with, and then you're gonna have a ton of fun. Alright, that's about it. See ya.